And we continue live on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Griffin's game day coverage continues from Edinboro as we get you ready for Seton Hill and the Fighting Scots here on Griffin's game day. You heard from Coach Isaac Collins. Now it's time to talk with junior linebacker Chase Parker. And Chase, you guys played so well defensively last week for 2.5 quarters, kind of let up there a little bit in the third quarter. Then I thought played a pretty strong fourth quarter as well. What got you guys going? How was the week of practice leading up to IUP, and what led to your playing so well for those 2.5 quarters, and then again coming back pretty strong in the fourth as well?
Well, I think we had a good week of practice. Obviously, after the East Stroudsburg game, we got a wake-up call, and we realized we needed to practice a little bit harder. So we worked on that, and we just took it play by play and series by series, and it worked out for the first half. And then we gave up about 17 points on defense. So there was a couple big plays here and there, but overall, I think we did well.
The one thing that really impressed me is you guys are going up against the number 8 team in the country, and you didn't look intimidated whatsoever. Is that an accurate statement?
I mean, they're a good team, a great team. They deserve the win because they did better than us, obviously. But I think that if we focus too much on the rankings, then that gets us a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous. So you can't really focus on that. We just got to focus on what we can do.
You had a huge sack early on. I really think that got everything going. You came through one touch, you sacked to Mike Box for IUP. The crowd started getting into it. Take me kind of through that play, just a well-disguised blitz by you guys, and that again was on the first drive of IUP.
Yeah, first I think our D-line did a great job. They opened up the gap for me, and I just saw the window, and I decided to shoot it, and he didn't see me coming, so it was nice.
How'd that have to feel really good, too, to come through one touch, get a good whack on the opposing quarterback that early in the game, and get the crowd going like it did? That had to feel awesome.
Oh, it felt great, especially after they got a pretty big run to start off the game, so I think that was huge for us.
After that sack, 2 drives later, you get a big interception as well, which had to feel good early on. Not only that, but you really had IUP back on their heels at that point. Unfortunately, the offense couldn't come through. But again, take me kind of through that play, and there was a lot of pressure on Mike Box too, right?
There was. D-line once again did a great job getting pressure up front. They forced him out of the pocket, which made my job a little easier. Secondary did a great job in their coverage, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
I want to talk about another play as well you weren't necessarily involved in, but IUP drives down to the goal line. I believe it was in the first quarter, and you guys come up with another great play as Ricardo Housen picks off a pass. Phil Moreland with great coverage in the end zone, and that thwarted an early opportunity for IUP to get a touchdown. Ended up blocking the punt and getting 2 points out of it, but a terrific job again by your defense and Ricardo Housen as well, coming away with the interception, and Phil causing everything.
Yeah, secondary had a great game, I believe, that game. Phil Moreland and Jordan Harper, they did a great job on the corners. And Ricardo, he's the right place at the right time once again. And Coach Collins always emphasizes we can bend, but we can't break. So I'm glad we were able to hold them to nothing there.
IUP finally cracked the scoreboard against you guys offensively for them. I know they had a 2-0 lead at halftime, but late in the third quarter. Was it just a case of you guys being on the field so much maybe wore you down a little bit, or is it just that they finally started executing a little bit?
I think they had a couple of plays here and there, and obviously each game comes down to a couple big plays. It's one play somewhere here and there that can dictate the game, and they just got a better job than us. So.
Now, through 3 games, I want to ask you, as one of the upperclassmen on this defense, how you see the defense progressing. Week 1, you had a tough first half, but came back and played a spectacular second half. We all knew what happened in Week 2. And last week, you play your butts off, particularly again through those 2.5 quarters. How do you kind of see the defense progressing right now?
I mean, obviously it's a building progress. So Coach Collins talks about taking steps in the forward direction. Obviously, East Stroudsburg game, we took a couple steps back. But it's a day-by-day process as long as we keep getting better each day, because really all we can control is our effort and our attitude. So as long as we keep coming back and making strides, we should be all right.
Do you feel that the momentum you guys built in the game against IUP, how well you played, you think that you're really trying to have that carry over? Not only the momentum, but the confidence that you guys have built up after such a tough loss to East Stroud, carrying over this week against Edinboro?
Definitely. Obviously, confidence is the big thing, especially on defense. We got to have the mentality that they're not going to be able to move the ball on us, because if we don't think that, then we've already lost right there.
Now, we always talk about Tyler Zimmer being such a great leader on defense. We talk about him every week because he's all over the place. You had a great game last week. I want to ask you about Orlando Irby. He seems like he is one of your captains, and he seems like he's really a true leader. A lot of the players, younger players, kind of lean on him for his leadership.
Oh, I love Irby. He's a great guy. He's a strong, silent type. He doesn't speak too much, but he gets his job done, and that's what I love about him.
Your defensive coordinator, Roosevelt Williams, I want to ask you about him too, what it's like playing for Coach Williams, a guy that played in the NFL. What's it kind of like playing for him so far here in your first year at Seton Hill?
I mean, I enjoy it. He's very enthusiastic. He gets the defense going, and we obviously feed off of his enthusiasm, so it's great.
Now, you're from South Bend, Indiana. Dare I go out on a limb and ask you who your favorite college football team was growing up?
Growing up, I would have to say Purdue because that was my mom.
Oh, really?
That was my mom's school.
Right.
She graduated there.
I knew you'd throw me a curveball.
Yeah, a little bit. But obviously the whole entire atmosphere of Notre Dame is great to grow up in. I went to my first game my 8th grade year. So it's an awesome experience, especially on Saturdays.
One of our guys, Jim Santarella, who works on the Westmoreland Sports Network, our staff actually went last week to watch Notre Dame play Michigan State, got the chance to touch the Play Like a Champion sign and all that. So he was really excited. I'm sure we're going to hear a ton of stories from him, but had to be just a great experience to, again, grow up around Notre Dame football being so close to it.
Yeah, it's awesome, especially the tradition there. It's obviously a very historical program, so being able to be around that and see the stadium and obviously the movie Rudy's, a lot of people talk about that. Like, I live there. That's where I'm from. So it's pretty cool. But definitely the atmosphere of Notre Dame is something to see.
Guys don't call you Rudy or anything, do they?
No.
Okay, so we won't do that on the broadcast, I promise, Chase. Talking with Chase Parker here on Griffin's Game Day. Why did you decide to come to Seton Hill? Just talk about what attracted you to Seton Hill University.
It was just the opportunity to play. I like what Coach Collins is doing here. I believe in the program. We have the talent to do some great things here. It's just a building process. So.
Chase, I have to ask you to kind of take you off the football field here for just a moment. Talk about your pregame ritual, what you like to do before the game gets underway. Are you a music guy, or are you just kind of one of those guys that just sits and, kind of to yourself, or do you talk to people? What kind of gets you ready for the game?
Pregame before we get on the bus, I try to stay a little loose so not get too tense about things. But as we approach the bus and approach the stadium, that's when I start to listen to my music. And then pregame, I'll keep to myself for a while, get myself hyped up, and then right after warm-ups is when I start to get a little bit more vocal. And then pregame, I lead the team in a prayer. And so from there on out, it's just enthusiasm.
Then you get that big sack early on. Coming through untouched again, hopefully this week against Edinboro. Let's talk about the Fighting Scots. They have a young quarterback, had a quarterback injured earlier in the season. They are, I believe, starting a freshman this week. How big is it for you guys defensively to get in his head a little bit early, get pressure on him early? And again, you guys had 5 turnovers caused last week. Try to get those turnovers numbers up again.
Yeah, I definitely think we have to pressure him. Obviously, he's a young player, so it might be a little hard for him to handle it to begin with. So we got to get as much pressure on him as we can. Hopefully make some mistakes.
And on film, what have you seen that the Fighting Scots do offensively, and what do you guys have to do defensively here this afternoon to come away with a victory?
Well, they love to run the inside zone. First and foremost, we need to stop the run. On defense, we can do that. We make them one-dimensional. And they love to spread the field, so it looks a little bit like our offense, so something we see normally every day there in practice. So hopefully we can stop them.
That'll help out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, too, I had a chance to ask Coach Collins this. As far as the intensity, you guys are going up against a number 8 team in the nation, at home, on homecoming. You guys are ready to go. Now you're going on the road to Edinboro for an earlier start. Obviously, they're not the number 8 team. They're a good team, but not the number 8 team in the nation. So you guys have to remind yourselves you got to be up for every game. The intensity has to be there just like it was last week.
Yeah, definitely, man. We can't focus on who the opponent is. We got to focus on ourselves. We especially can't have a letdown week, because obviously coming off of number 8 IUP, I think, okay, they're not ranked. Now we can relax a little bit. We can't relax because we got another game coming up.
Chase, really appreciate your time, man. Good luck today against Edinboro.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is Chase Parker, junior linebacker for the Seton Hill Griffins. We'll continue on Griffin's Game Day, getting you closer to kickoff between Seton Hill and Edinboro live on the Westmoreland Sports Network. More after this.